Welcome everyone to the Township Council Workshop, Monday, December 7th, 2020. This meeting is now called to order. After the flag salute, please remain standing for a moment of silence for former council member William Lease and in observance of the 79th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Please rise. Mayor, salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Mrs. Kraus, please read the statement of public notice.
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on January 9th, 2020. A copy of the notice was faxed to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the Township Clerk on said date. This meeting is being conducted under the circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 health situation. No public will be allowed to attend the meeting in person. A YouTube link to view this meeting can be accessed on the Township website at www.lfnj.com. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Mrs. Kraus, at this time, please call the roll.
Councilmember Havlis? Present. Councilmember Kawadi?
Present.
Councilmember Seaver? Present. Councilmember Vanchery?
Present.
Council President Scova?
Present. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for all matters? This public comment is also to include comments on the ordinance which are on the agenda for public hearing and adoption at this evening. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Kawadi, second by Councilmember Havlitz. All those in favor of opening to the public, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to the motion signify by saying nay. The motion carries. Mrs. Kraus?
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so by sending an email to ckraus@lfnj.com. The email must provide your name and address for the record. At this time, there will be a 10-minute recess, which will allow the public to send comments and questions via email. At the end of the recess, the meeting will reconvene, and all proper emails will be read into the record. Council President will determine if a response is needed, and if so, shall direct said response. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. We will return at 7:13. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Mrs. Kraus, have we received any emails regarding this evening's meeting?
Yes, we received 2 comments.
Okay. Mayor, would you like to read the comment by Councilor John J. Vettery?
Sure, Council President. The first message we received is from John Vettery of 3 University Plaza, Hackensack, New Jersey. It reads, on behalf of the Little Falls Historical Society, we would like to express our condolences on the loss of William Lease, the longtime Vice President of the Little Falls Historical Society. Bill Lease was a dedicated public servant and served the Township of Little Falls with tremendous dignity and stateliness. His legacy lives on in Little Falls through all of his accomplishments, including historical preservation, open space, senior advisory, public education, and so much more. We look forward to working with the Township to honor his legacy in a meaningful way.
Thank you, Mayor. The next correspondence is from Mr. Luis Fernandez from 75 Harrison Street. Would you like to address that, please?
Sure, Council President. It reads, Mr. Mayor, do you have anything new to report on the talks with the owner of the building at 75 Harrison Street? Signed, Luis Fernandez from Harrison Street. Mr. Fernandez, the answer to that is, at this time, I don't have an update. I do know, the update is that the conversations between the purchaser of the building and the seller continue to exist. The purchaser is anxious to buy the building, As indicated last meeting, the seller is having some issues resolving some minor litigation, at which time then the transaction can be completed, and it is still everybody's intention to proceed as was initially discussed.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to Mr. Vetri, Councilor Vetri, for his comments concerning the former councilman, and to Mr. Fernandez for your comments. Thank you. At this time, can I have a motion to close the public comment?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Kawadi, second. Second by Councilmember Sieber. All those in favor of closing to the public, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to the motion signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Mayor Damiano, item number 1.
Yes, quickly this evening, Council President. The first is a shared service agreement with Woodland Park for employee COVID tracking application. We are working with Woodland Park in a shared service agreement with the intentions of purchasing a COVID tracking application. As is required by the state, employees are required to track their temperature and various other markings each day before coming to work. In an effort to streamline the process, we are moving to an app-based system that will allow all of this data to be captured and stored for the periods of time that we are now required to do so, rather than using paper and all of that continuing to build and find storage issues with that. That said, we're working with the Borough of Woodland Park because most of these applications require a large number of participants to be included. The Township of Little Falls has about 100 total employees. Woodland Park has about the same. A lot of the apps have a minimum number that exceeds the 100 that we or Woodland Park have, so we're working with them to find some competitive pricing on an app that would allow this to all be tracked through an app. So that's where we stand with that.
Does the council members have any questions for the mayor or the administrator regarding item number 1, shared service agreement? Item number 2, Mayor.
Sure. Item number 2 is an authorizing payment to the Borough of Hawthorne for the purchase of a ladder truck for the fire department. A tremendous opportunity presented itself recently, and Fire Chief Jack Sweezy has been working hand in hand with the fire chief from the Borough of Hawthorne. They are retiring a ladder truck that is still in very operable condition because they have replaced it with a new one and have no location to store their current ladder truck. The township has opted to purchase this ladder truck for an extremely reduced rate of only $30,000, and it will be stored at Company 2 on Wilmore Road, who is going to be working to add a little bit of height to one of their bays so that the truck can be stored indoors. Again, this provides a great opportunity to the township to acquire this ladder at an incredibly reduced rate. And again, it can be utilized, hopefully never utilized, in all honesty, but if the need should arise with a high building rescue, we would have a second ladder that would be operable in order to do that. So we are looking to proceed with that purchase, again, for an incredible price of only $30,000. In addition to that, I might mention that this ladder truck has been maintained by the same individual who has maintained our current ladder truck. So the records that we have on it and all of the services that have been performed are impeccable, and we're very excited about this opportunity to acquire this at such a great rate.
Does the council members have any questions regarding the new ladder truck? Mayor, item number 3.
Yes, the liquor license renewal resolution. This is a regular resolution to extend a plenary retail consumption license at the First Russian National Home of Singak, also known as the Russian Hall. This is simply an administrative resolution to extend the liquor license because we don't want and it is, the appropriate fee is being paid. This is being done, I believe, to avoid this license from lapsing and then falling off of our rolls here in Little Falls, so it is being renewed. This is done annually by all of the liquor license holders in town as sort of very standard operating procedure.
Any questions regarding item number 3, liquor license renewal? Item number 4, Mayor.
Yes, item number 4 is a resolution waiving liquidated damages for the Duva Park Storage Building project. There was a litany of back and forth and issues that with the construction of the Duva Park storage building that is now in the final stages of being completed. The contractor had only a couple of months, or I should say a couple of weeks, to really complete the project as was originally discussed, and he exceeded the deadlines in which to complete the project. There was some back and forth as to whether or not the township was to blame for some information being provided to them or vice versa. And the contractor, in order to close this out in a negotiation with the township, we have opted not to pursue the liquidated damages that we may have been entitled to against this contractor. And we are looking to just get this project completed and each go our separate ways with a completed construction project of the storage unit there at Duva Field.
Any questions regarding number 4? Item number 5, Mayor.
Yes, item number 5 is a resolution canceling taxes on a property. The property that is referenced in item number 5 is a property that the township purchased to install its new water pump station. So it is going to be township-owned property, and of course, taxes on that property are therefore going to be canceled.
Any questions regarding item number 5? Item number 6, budget transfers, Mayor.
Yes, budget transfer resolutions, as is common and as I explain oftentimes in the latter part of the calendar years, budgets from one department to another sometimes need to be transferred in the latter portion of a year because, as I've explained in the past, budgets are estimated by each department, so are revenues by each department. And in the latter portion of the year, some departments spend more than they may have anticipated, while others spend less. This is just an administrative transfer, and it's done by, I'd say, almost all municipalities, at least in the state, if not in the country, in the latter portion of the calendar year.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there any questions regarding budget transfers?
Yes, Council President, can we just, could Mr. Kuchar please forward us the names of those accounts to go along with the numbers that we're seeing?
Right. Yes, Councilmember Quaddy, I know in my own personal business, like, you get to know the codes when we're doing stuff, but of course, that's when you're doing it every day. For us on the council, you know, we tend to forget what is 4263 or, you know, where is it coming from. So, Mr. Kuchar, maybe in the future, can we get a little bit more clarification of however you want to send it up so that the council knows better where the money is coming from and going into?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll get that clarification. Thank you, Councilmember Quaddy. Any other council members regarding budget transfers? Okay, Mayor, number 7.
Yes, item number 7 is a resolution awarding a contract to Rare Supply for vegetative waste. This is the company that removes the vegetative waste, so the leaves, the trees, the branches, the limbs, all of those sorts of things that people either bring down to the DPW or the DPW picks up in the brown bags throughout town over the course of the week. This is the company that removes those items from our DPW yard, and this is a simple renewal to this company that removes that debris from the DPW yard.
5,000 less than last year.
Thank you, Mr. Kuchar. Yes, Mr. Kuchar is indicating that the contract award is actually $5,000 less than last year. It may be the only contract awarded where the cost actually went down in the course of a year, but it is certainly a good deal for the township.
Well, we certainly appreciate Mr. Kuchar going out and saving the township $5,000. We'd like to take the savings wherever it comes from. Any questions regarding the item number 7? Item number 8, Mayor.
Thanks, Council President. Item number 8 is the resolution renewing the township's elevator service contract. This is, again, another one of those items that makes its way onto an agenda at the end of each calendar year, renewing our elevator contract for the following year. It's required that we have this service in town, and we're going to be renewing the township's elevator service contract again this year.
Thank you, Mayor. So now that we discussed all those, can I have a motion to approve resolutions A through I at this time?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Siebers, second by Councilmember Hablitz. Mrs. Kraus, call the roll to approve the resolutions A through I.
Councilmember Havlet? Yes. Councilmember Kawadi?
Yes.
Councilmember Sieber? Yes. Councilmember Vantieri?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, please read ordinance 1391.
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1391, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing emergency appropriation, NJSA 40A:5-53, COVID-19 special emergency.
Can I have a motion to open to public hearing on ordinance 1391? 1391.
I thought we did that. Did we not do that during the public session?
So moved.
Well, we don't have to go through that ritual again at this time? Well, we actually did it for public. Counselor, do we have to go through that again at this time, even though we just did it for public?
I mean, technically,
Yes,
you
yeah.
need to have anytime you're doing the second reading, you have to have a public motion to open up the public. And if you don't have any comments, you don't have any comments.
Okay, all right. So let's go back again. Can I have a motion to open to the public hearing on ordinance 1391? Was that moved by Councilmember Hablitz?
Seaver.
So I'm sorry, Councilmember Seaver, I apologize. Second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hablitz. Thank you. All those in favor of opening to the public for hearing on 1391 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to close to the public hearing on 1391?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery, second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor of closing on 1391 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1391?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery, second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kawadi. Mrs. Kraus, please call the roll on 1391.
Councilmember Havlet? Yes. Councilmember Kawadi?
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver? Yes. Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, can you please read ordinance 1393?
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1393, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls, in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 7 on-street regulations, yield intersections of the Code of the Township of Little Falls.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to open to the public hearing on 1393?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery, second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor of opening to public hearing on 1393 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on 1393?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery, second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kawadi. All those in favor of closing to the public hearing on 1393 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1393?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vanchery,
Second.
second by Councilmember Kawadi. All those in favor, I'm sorry. Mrs. Kraus, call the roll.
Councilmember Havlet? Yes. Councilmember Kawadi?
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver? Yes. Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, please read ordinance 1394.
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1394, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 218, Stormwater Management of the Code of the Township of Little Falls.
Can I have a motion to open to public hearing on 1394?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Hablitz, second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kawadi. All those in favor of opening to public hearing on 1394 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. The motion carries. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on 1394?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Kawadi, second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor of closing the public hearing on 1394 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1394?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Seaver, second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Kawadi. Mrs. Kraus, please call the roll on 1394.
Councilmember Havlet? Yes. Councilmember Kawadi?
Yes.
Councilmember Seaver? Yes. Councilmember Vanchery?
Yes.
Council President Scoba?
Yes. So we stood for a moment of silence of the former Councilmember Bill Lease. It wasn't that long ago where he sat on this dais handling the township's business. Bill was a very classy public servant who I learned a lot from. I spent many a days in his living room along with Paul Huggins talking about campaigns. And in his household, once you went into his household, you would see the pictures of his children and his late wife, which he would always talk fondly of. He was definitely a public servant that wouldn't be swayed very easily when it came to issues. He was very staunch on his sentiment when it came to being a public servant, and he wasn't one to just vote yes or no on an issue because someone was asking him to. I definitely learned a lot from being around him, and the township definitely benefited quite dearly from having him here as a public servant. We also stood in silence for the 79th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, which, as we know and as we learned in history, and we're reminding that many individuals lost their life on that tragic day on a sneak attack by the Japanese. Councilmember Vanchery?
Thanks, Council President. First I want to start off and just express my condolences to our former colleague and friend, Councilman Bill Lease, who passed away last week. It was obviously a sad day in Little Falls for many, including all of us that are here today at the meeting. Bill was one of a kind. He was a staple in this community. He did so many great things, led a number of different committees, and was always there to provide sort of insights and guidance as needed. And plus, with his career even before being a council member, he was well liked and respected for the 43 years that he worked in the Clifton public schools, and he had an impact on so many there as well. I do want to say, for me, I always appreciated his advice and key learning. He was someone that he was a man of detail, and he was stickler about schedules. And I learned a few years back from him never to be late when you tell former Councilman Leach that you're coming over to meet with him. There was an interesting story 3 years ago. Myself, the mayor, and Council President Scoba were meeting with some residents on a Sunday afternoon, and we had plans to meet up with Councilman Leach at 1 o'clock. Lo and behold, it's 1 o'clock, and we're running a little behind. And my phone rings, and it's Councilman Leach, and didn't even get a chance to say hi to him. He was like, "Where are you?" It's 1 o'clock. You're supposed to be here. And I felt so bad, and he said to me, "Make a promise. You tell people you're coming to them. Don't ever be late." So I always, respected this man on so many levels. And, my thoughts and prayers are with his family. And, as Mr. Vettery alluded earlier in the Historical Society note, I hope that at some point we can properly honor Bill for his service to the community. I just have a couple other things, if I can transition after, a moment for Bill. I just want to mention that, the Little Falls Police Department has their annual Toys for Tots program that is running through Wednesday, December 9th. So if anyone has a wrapped or unopened toy, to please, drop it off at the police station. And then just from a transportation standpoint, my committee and we met last week. And, as we had the one item on the agenda tonight for the yield, I'm also working on the addition of possible stop signs at various roads within our township. And I'm going to set up some time to sit down with Chief Post, going to go through that list. And then once we pull everything together, I'll work with Mr. Wenzel, Mr. Cuccia, Mrs. Kraus, and also Mayor Damiano to pull together the draft letter that we have at this point to connect with some residents about the possibility of stop signs added to certain spots within town that are currently missing them. That's it for me. Again, just, sad with the loss of our former colleague, and, I just want to say my thoughts are with his family. Thank you, Council President.
Councilmember Kwati.
Thank you, Council President. Regarding Councilman Lee's passing, if you want to know what type of person Bill Leaf was, he helped children in his career as a superintendent of schools, and he helped seniors as a member of the Little Falls Council. And, that for me sums up who he was. He was somebody out there to help everyone. And I have a particular honor that I ran for his seat when he retired, and I take the responsibility of the great job that he did very seriously. And he did a lot for the people of Little Falls, and we will miss him. Moving on, I just want to mention that we did have our Christmas tree lighting the other night, and it sort of reminds me of what 2020 is like. It was pouring rain. It wasn't what we wanted it to be, but we made the best, and we put it on. And thanks to a lot of people, the DPW and the fire department included in that, it turned out to be as successful as it possibly could be. And I think that sort of sums up 2020 for us, where we're making do with the cards that we're dealt. Let's continue to do so until we get out of this, which may bring us into 2021 a bit. But we'll keep making do with what we have and making the best of it. That's it for me. Thank you.
Councilmember Hablitz.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I also want to say my condolences to Councilman Lee's family and friends. My prayers and thoughts are with them. I personally didn't know Councilman Lees very well, but I do know how much he has done for this town. I do know that he was instrumental with the Senior Advisory Board and many senior activities, so he will be sorely missed. On another note, I just want to remind everyone that the library and the Little Falls Biz is having their annual gingerbread house contest. This year it will be virtual, as we know. However, please send your entries by December 11th to littlefallsbiz.org. There are 3 categories, which are children from 5 to 12, teens from 13 to 18, and adults that are 18 and over. The voting will take place from December 12th through December 18th, and then the winners will be decided on December 19th at 2 p.m. And I also just want to give one more bit of information on behalf of the Little Falls Biz. They will be having a children's holiday goodie bag giveaway this Saturday from 12 to noon in the Little Falls Municipal Parking Lot. So that's really a nice gesture on their behalf during this holiday season. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Seaver.
Thank you. Yes, again, wanted to give my condolences to Councilman Bill Lee's family and loved ones and friends. I served on council with Bill Lees for just a short time, and it was really, truly a pleasure. Being so new, he was really a great source of knowledge for me, and I knew I could always rely on him. So, he will be greatly missed. Also, just again, want to recognize Pearl Harbor Day, a day which will live in infamy. I don't want these dates to ever go unnoticed. In the back of my mind, being in New York City for September 11th, I don't ever want these dates to be forgotten because they really do make up who we are today. And then moving on, so it was actually with great pleasure on a sad event, but November 28th, we actually raised the Ukrainian flag at Town Hall. So thank you very much, Mayor Damiano, for having that happen, along with our Little Falls Ukrainian Boy Scout, Andrew White. He helped bring to light Holodomor, which is the genocide of Ukrainians by the Soviets under Joseph Stalin's rule in 1932 to 33. It was actually a man-made Great Famine that killed over 3 million Ukrainians. As many of you might know, but I am a first-generation American Ukrainian, so I am proud to see our town bring to light these horrific events so that they may never be repeated. So we hope to continue this event in the future. That's it.
For the public knowledge, the council and the mayor, along with the administration, hopefully in January, we'll have a new platform on how we're going to be conducting our public meetings. It may be leaning in the direction of how the planning board currently does it with WebEx. So at the next meeting, I'll have more information. Mayor Damiano?
Thank you, Council President. As all have mentioned, we have recently dealt with the unfortunate passing of our former councilman here in town, Bill Lees. And before I say my own words about Bill, I'd like to read some information provided by the family. Bill earned his Bachelor's of Arts from Montclair State College, a Master's in Education from Syracuse University, and studied school administration at Columbia University. In 1959, Bill began a career with Clifton Public Schools that spanned 43 years. He started as a history teacher and advanced through various administration roles before serving his last 17 years as superintendent of schools. Bill enjoyed an active retirement that included multiple terms serving the residents of Little Falls as a councilman. Bill's lifelong commitment to public service included volunteer work with Holy Angels, the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, and memberships on the Passaic Valley Juvenile Conference Committee, the Passaic Valley Regional High School Board of Education, the Little Falls Board of Education, and the Passaic County Senior Services Board. Bill was president and vice president of the Little Falls Jaycees, vice president of the Little Falls Historical Society, trustee of the Passaic County Historical Society, and president of the U.S. Air Force Academy Parents Association and the Passaic Valley High School Band Parents Association. His professional associations included Phi Delta Kappa, the New Jersey Association of School Administrators, the New Jersey Council of Education, and service on the American Delegation of School Administrators during visits to schools in Moscow and Beijing. My thoughts and prayers are with Bill and his family during these trying times for them. That said, I can sit here today and tell you unequivocally that had it not been for Bill Lees, I would not be sitting here today as mayor. Bill was persistent in addition to not being easily swayed, as Council President Scoba said earlier. And it was Bill, after his fourth phone call to me, asking me to run for council in 2012, that I finally acquiesced and said okay. The first 3 times, I told Bill that I was not interested, and I thought that my decision was final. But in speaking to Bill that 4th time, he convinced me that it would be the right thing for me to do for the Township of Little Falls. And I am forever grateful for Bill asking me and essentially talking me into running for council in 2012, running with me in 2014, and sitting on this council and dais with me for a number of years. That said, my thoughts and prayers are certainly with his family during these already trying times. And I want to thank Bill, although he's no longer with us, for everything that he has done and helping me find my way to this dais and this council, and now as mayor of this township. That said, changing gears here, COVID has certainly been making headlines recently. And I'm not going to sit here and give a lecture to the residents of the township, but I am going to simply remind everyone that the numbers are rising and that everyone needs to remain vigilant, especially with the upcoming holidays and family gatherings that we are going to be seeing over the next several weeks. Please, if you don't feel good, if you're exhibiting any symptoms, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't go to the family gathering. Tell them you don't feel well. Don't put anyone else at risk. That said, as many of the council members indicated, we had our first and hopefully last virtual tree lighting this past week on Friday. While I thought it was very successful, it just was not the same being in the park without a couple of hundred kids running around, fake snow flying in the air, music playing, choir singing, hot chocolate being served. I didn't like it. And we made the best of we made hot chocolate out of the cocoa powder we had, but it wasn't ideal. And hopefully it'll be the last one that we ever have like that. Changing to some good news. The township was awarded $540,000 in our annual streetscape application grant through the DOT. This is for the section of Main Street from Maple Ave, a little bit past Patterson Ave. This will complete Patterson, Maple, and Main Street from Maple, almost all the way down to Center Ave. We currently have new applications that are being submitted for portions of Main Street from Center Ave to Union, and from Union up to the railroad station. So we are hopeful that we will have, within just a couple of short years, a whole lot of connectivity of our streetscapes that we have been looking to accomplish here in town. I am pleased to say that in the upcoming months, hopefully this early as this spring, we will actually be breaking ground on the first couple section of our streetscape, and this newest section that we were just awarded. I'm hopeful that we will be able to break ground later next year in 2021 as we approach the fall season. So that is some good news for us. We're looking to beautify our downtown and bring some curb appeal back to the town center. Little Falls Biz, I want to thank them for encouraging all of our businesses in town to light up the town, light up the streets, and reminding everyone to shop local. It does look very nice downtown there in our town center with all of our businesses with lights in their windows. And although not many people can enter those stores, it certainly brings a little bit of a festive feel back to the township. And I want to thank all of our businesses for participating in the Little Falls Biz Light Up the Town campaign. Finally, on December 10th, Hanukkah starts. And this year, we will be doing a virtual menorah lighting on December 16th. Again, while it's virtual, hopefully the first and last virtual Hanukkah celebration that we will be celebrating with our virtual menorah lighting. And I'd like everyone's invited to join us on our recreation page again for our menorah lighting this year. And we have recently installed a large menorah in Memorial Park down on Wilmore Road. So everyone will see a new light lit up from the 10th through the 8 days of Hanukkah. And we are pleased to have that new addition to the township. So please join us on December 16th for our virtual menorah lighting, and with Hanukkah starting on December 10th. I want to wish all of our Jews who celebrate Hanukkah in town a very happy Hanukkah season. That's all I have, Council President.
Mayor, I think there's a mailbox at the rec center for children for Santa. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, I will briefly touch upon that. I talked about it a little bit at the tree lighting. There is a mailbox down at our Sports and Recreation Complex in the open area as you approach the building from the parking lot with our Santa mailbox. And our little residents in town can feel free to write a letter to Santa and drop it off there. And as I understand it, Santa and his helpers are responding to a lot of our young ones with responses and letters back to them. So feel free to utilize the mailbox at our Sports and Recreation Complex, and if anybody chooses to write a letter to Santa.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Seaver, second. Second by Councilmember Quade. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting signify by saying aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. This meeting is now closed.